Blimey, this is a fascinating place. Do you know that the island has the oldest continuous parliament in the world? It started with the Vikings, and the whole of the island is packed with history. Now look out the window. No, the one at the front. And you see that dry land? Well, I'm on it. It's Douglas, the capital. Now when you've docked, turn right and walk up the prom, and we'll start our little history tour. But before you do that, show them where we are. Well, thanks ever so much for bringing the car across on the boat. You know me and boats. I mean, I'm doing all right with little ones, but I'm not up to big ones yet. I'm a what? Surprising, because I'm a transport anorak. Is that right? Well, listen, if we are going to be a transport anorak, let's do it properly. Let's talk about all the different types of transport on the island, starting off with Alec. Now then, they've had horse-drawn trams on this island for 119 years. Thomas Lightfoot, an engineer from Sheffield, was the man who started it all off. He retired to Douglas and thought, hey, there's a few bob to be made out of pulling people up and down the promenade. And he was dead right. This is one of 40 horses that do this every day. Shall we let them go? That do this every day. No, they're not going yet. And they do 3 circuits up and back, and then they get a little rest. But they only do it for 12 weeks in the year, and then they go out and have a nice little rest in the fields around the island. Do you fancy having a go? Yeah? I didn't mean stroking, I meant going on it. No? Oh, all right, well, we'll try something else. Well, what about the electric railway? Now, this has been running for 102 years. The carriages that are numbered 1 and 2 are the longest running electric trams in the world. And it goes all the way to Ramsey on a beautiful track. Do you fancy that? Right, well, we're off up Snay Fell then. That's what the Norse called Snow Mountain. Snaefell Electric Railway, which is part of Manx Electric Railway, and it goes right the way up to the top there. This is the bungalow station, which is where electric meets steam, or at least for the moment, because just down here is an engine that was used for the construction of the railway 100 years ago, Caledonia, which carried the track up here as they were building it, and they built it very, very quickly. And then from here, the electric trains carried on up to the top and took over from the steam. But for the centenary year, it's back working, except for today, because it's broken. Now, what about the steam railway? Because, I mean, the island's got a steam train that runs all the way down. You're not even very interested in this, are you? Look, the island is very famous for one thing, and it is the motorbike. No, it is. That's a motorbike. It's actually a Singer. The engine was within the wheel, and the rest of it was just a bicycle. Of course, the island is so famous for motorbikes because of the TT races. Look at all these within the Isle of Man Motorbike Museum, which is up on Snaefell itself. That's a Wooler, which was really, really ahead of its time. Up here, a very famous winner, Mike Halewood, won on this very machine, part of the Honda team, and that machine was kept by the Honda chairman until he retired and then given to the museum here. Now, these bikes belong to Muriel Hind. Now, Muriel was a very, very famous hill climber. She was really, really good at it. She had these specially made, and in fact there are even little straps across the back wheel to stop her skirt getting caught up in the machinery. And she quite often beat the blokes on these. Good on her. Isn't that fascinating? I don't understand you. It's mechanical. You love mechanical things. Afternoon, fairies. What? You didn't say anything? You don't know about fairy... Look, it's tradition on the island and superstition. When you go over Fairy Bridge, you have to say hello to the fairies. And you didn't say anything. Oh, well, that's it. I mean, the fairies are just going to bring down the wrath of whatever it is upon it. We'll have bad luck for the rest of the trip. You've ruined everything. 9 out of 10 people, when you ask them about the Isle of Man, will say the Laxey Wheel. And so they should. She's wonderful. To give her her full name, it is Lady Isabella, built in 1854. She's fantastic. Come on up. She was named after the governor's wife of the time. Isabella was her first name, and she was constructed to pump out the mine, which is further up the valley. It's actually only a tiny little trickle of water which turns this enormous great thing. And this is part of the shaft, which, as you can see, is moving that way, and then eventually will move back. And that's what pumped the water out of the mine further up. And you can see it go up the 300 yards or so along here. There, disappearing up into the valley. And of course, mines have always been ever so important on the island, including silver mines. Very, very famous for its silver. Of course, you can go right to the top of the wheel, but it's a bit of a climb, so I'll leave it to you. Away you go. Still in Laxey, this is King Orry's grave, although actually it's not. It's a megalithic site, which means that it was probably the burial chamber of New Stone Age chieftains. This was an entrance into the burial chamber, although sadly they've put a road through it, they've built a wall on it, they've put houses on it, and they've taken away most of the cairn that covered it. Apart from that, it's exactly the same as it was, 2300 BC. So from the island's largest megalithic site and Europe's largest water wheel to another largest. In fact, Europe's biggest junk shop at Derby Airfield in Derby, which is why it's called Derby Junk, and this is exactly where it is on the island. And this is Stella Pixon, who started it all back in the 70s, wasn't it, Stella?
Yes, indeed.
Why junk?
Well, junk is interesting. The items are all different, and people like junk. You know, people just like junk.
Okay, fair enough. Where do you get it from?
From the island, from Christo's, the auctioneers here. Excellent.
So all this junk is off the island?
Of course, yes. Yes, indeed.
And I suppose everyone that visits actually buys something.
Yes, well, if they don't, they enjoy coming around and quite often thank me for being entertained, and some people buy a lot, others just maybe a 25p item.
Have you got anything that brings luck?
Yes, horseshoes.
Oh, that'll be good. Whereabouts are they?
Two kinds. I've got some small ones and the larger ones. The block 2, down on the other side and nearly to the bottom. No, on the other side, block 2, the other side. That's it, nearly to the bottom, where there's a lot of men's junk and iron things, and that sounds like it.
I think he's found them.
Yes,
I'm amazed how you know where everything is in this place. But you do, don't you? You can always put your finger on it straight away.
Oh, yes.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Oh, excellent. Good. Oh, good luck.
Well, we need it.
Yes.
You know, I've been thinking, that skull, it could have been King Orry. No, I mean, I've been finding out all about King Orry. 1079, he was the ruler of this land. And he was a good ruler, and his sons ruled, and his sons' sons ruled, and they ruled, and it went on for a long, long time. And he was actually called Godred. but the Manx for Godred is Gorry. King Gorry became King Orry. There you are. And I'll tell you something else about the island. Gambling's different. You know those one-armed bandit things? You can win £12,500 on one of those. What? And you don't have to wait for your membership in a casino. You can get it instantly. Wow. There's a thought. You haven't got any money, have you? Only because that's different as well, the money. There you are, there's one. See, that's different. That's a 5p. That's different to ours. And what else have you got? 10p. There's got the legs on it, the 10p. And the foldy stuff's very different. Come on. Right. There's it. £1. And the 5s are different. Good, good. There's a 5. And the 10s, in fact, all the notes, they're all very different. And thank you. I lost the lot. Should have taken that horseshoe with me, shouldn't I? What? It was the money for your tea? Oh well. See you tomorrow. Morning. Did you get anything to eat last night? Chips. Oh, casino chips. All right. Did you win? What, £10? Big deal. What? No, look, it's herrings. It's kippers. That's what the island's famous for. You know that? I'll show you how it's done. I'm going to eat them first. And if you're going to look at kippers, you should look at the man who does the most, Peter Caniper, who works 22 hours a day doing the kippers during the season. And do you know what he does during his time off? Well, you've already met him. All right, that's right, he goes fishing. Come on in and have a look. Here we are, here's the fish. It's awfully noisy. There's the herring. Come round here. They get tipped into here and put onto the machines which got them and split them and do everything else that's required on them. They're old machines, but they're the best you can get. And over here is the top man. This is Peter Caniper. This is, when they've been split, they get put on tenterhooks, and that's where the expression tenterhooks comes from. And if you come round here, I'll show you where they're smoked. And besides, it's a bit quieter through here, which is nice. This is the smoking area. How many smokers have you got, Peter?
4 kilns.
4?
Yes, and when they're full, there's 35,000 herring and smoke in here when they're full now.
35,000?
35,000, that's 4 times a day, at least 4 times a day.
Now, I know you've just put some in there. Have you got any that you're actually smoking at the moment?
These are smoking now, we have them smoked.
And you've built all these machines yourself, haven't you? And got them to your sort of requirements?
I haven't built them, but rebuilt them to my qualification, how I want them to stand.
Right. Woo! And there's an art to smoking, and it's secret, isn't it?
It is, yes. Yes.
So you're going to tell us?
Well, smoking is a lot to do with what time the fish were caught, what the fish are feeding on, the amount of oil the fish contains, the ambient temperature of the air in the day. All this you have to combine.
And you know all that?
Well, the minute those herring are landed, I know when they were caught, what they were feeding on, I know how to mix my wood to make that herring a gorgeous golden brown.
And that's just through knowing, being able to look at the fish?
Knowing by that fish, knowing the feel of that fish. It's years and years of experience. Once you pick up that fish, I know how long it's going to take to smoke.
And you're still doing 22 hours a day?
Well, 22 hours a day, non-stop.
Well, I better let you get on with it.
Yep, I better hurry.
All right, mate. And it's no good sneaking a quick look at that because he makes all the gauges wrong and only he knows the right reading. Right, let's... yeah. Why didn't you say hello to the fairies? It's all over the car, look. Just have to make sure that there aren't any about, really, because no, you've got to watch out for these seagulls. They're everywhere. Isn't this beautiful? Peel and Peel Castle in the background. Now you show them where it is on the island. And this is George Cowley. No, he's over here. George Cowley or Cowler.
Cowler. Oh, it means the son of Macowler, which means the son of Cowler. But it also means the son of Olaf or Olaf's son. It is one of your oldest amongst names of Norse descent, and my family goes right back to that period.
What are you doing? What's he looking at? What's he...
Hey boy. Oh, queesathology. The bulbs have been using you as a toilet.
Queesathology?
Yeah. So what's the good of talking about that?
Oh, dear. So that's Manx. You've got your own Manx language, yeah? And you've got a right to be a Viking because the Vikings
most definitely, yes.
Really were here,
yes,
weren't they?
And we're all seafaring folk. I was Royal Navy from 1935 onwards, went right through the war. And an old ship of mine still in London, that's a Belfast. I was one of the original crew that got thrown up in her in November 39.
And the Vikings landed here in Peel?
Peel, they landed over there. The castle wasn't there then. And it was inhabited by monks. And when the monks used to see the Vikings coming over the horizon, they used to barricade themselves inside that watchtower till the Vikings left. But the Vikings did eventually arrive on there, and when they did, they built wooden stockades or fortresses of timber, which was imported from Galloway. Now, a stockade or fortress in the Norse means a peel, and you spell it P-E-E-L-E, and they say that's how Peel got its name.
Well, we have to go and have a look at that castle. This is the oldest part of the castle. It is St Patrick's Chapel, and the round tower behind me, or belfry, is over 1,000 years old. There's been a settlement here since Iron Age and Bronze Age times, and some of those burial sites are down here. That's the Half Moon Battery, which was built in the 16th century. I don't know why they call it Half Moon, because it's completely round. This is where the pagan lady was found. A very famous grave. The whole of this hill is full of bodies buried here. In fact, some rabbits scraping up there the other day scraped up a human skull. Anyway, don't worry about it. The pagan lady was found exactly here. This is where, when they were excavating in the 80s, they found this grave, and she had a perfect necklace on her made up of little glass beads. And they've discovered that that glass came from all over Europe. Now, into the cathedral, down here. This is 13th century, 1247 to be precise. These are the graves of people who've been shipwrecked on the island and never quite made it ashore. Through here, past one bishop's grave, and this was the grave of the man who built the cathedral. There you are, 1247. Now, interestingly, beneath your feet at this very moment, there is a crypt. It's a bit difficult to get to. It's down here. Yes. Come on down here. Now, this was obviously a little religious room at one stage, but then it took on a completely different life. And from a crypt, it became a prison. I know why you've had to go ahead of me. You've had to change your filter thingy because of the light, haven't you? See, I'm learning. Watch your step, pal. Otherwise, it'll be one's country soon. So this was the crypt. They'd have had some sort of altar up here. And then it became a prison. All sorts of people imprisoned here. Quakers in particular, held on just straw beds, water running down through here, terrible conditions. And a woman who was held here for having too many illegitimate children. But it didn't work, and she had some more. So the bishop, who was a saintly man, tied her to the back of a boat and dragged her across the bay. And what's that? What is that? What's that noise? What, they're closed for a lunch break? They don't do that. Anyway, we can get out here, look. Why didn't you just say hello to them? That's all you had to do. I mean, what do fairies look like, anyway? Now, are you ready? Both together, all right? 1, 2, 3. Morning, fairies. Yeah. I hope we can do that. This is nice, isn't it? Port Erin. It's lovely. Nice little bay. Yeah, the water's quite clear. It's blown up a bit this morning, but it's lovely. Well, you bought me something. That's very nice of you. A flipper. Or 2 flippers. And a mask. What am I supposed to do with the flippers and a mask? And a dry suit. An introductory course to diving. Right. Yes. It's not easy, this. Are you ready? I said, are you ready? You coming in? What do you mean, no? I mean, what's the point of me being in there if I can't take any pictures? That's underwater eye. You want me to take the picture? All right. What are you doing with that? What?
Do you want to go down around the edge?
One horseshoe. Don't do it again. Do you like it? It's my sub-aqua card. Well, I've decided to take the plunge and come on the ferry, and so far I've managed to hold on to my stomach. In Salisbury, with Stonehenge, ley lines, fudge. Mysteries of old, cider,
and Tim Grundy makes that trip to Salisbury right after the break here on TLC.